So, folks, first off, let me just start by saying I attempted to live stream from the Bernie rally in Brooklyn this weekend to very, very little success. In fact, zero success. Although I was able to get out on Instagram. And so if you do not have Instagram or you haven't signed up to follow us on Instagram, listen to Grandpa talk about it this way. Whatever you do to go on Instagram.
Log on to Instagram.
Log on to Instagram and do the thing where you can see our stuff at majorityreport.fm. That's our Instagram handle. Now, of course, I have a couple of Finstas, but I just have those so that the Majority Reporter fans can't find me, just in case I'm looking at stuff that's lurid. But the Majority Report Instagram has at least some footage from just where we were at the beginning. It was super cold, and I don't think that you can overestimate how much this cold. I mean, it was a very enthusiastic crowd, and it was a big crowd. I haven't seen any specific numbers. I have a feeling probably around 10,000, but I'm not sure.
I saw 13,000.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense to me. And but I think if it had been 5 or 10 degrees warmer, I think people would have been nuts. But I know for myself, I was like spending a lot of time going like doing this, and it was cold, and it got colder as the rally went on. The wind was coming in. The sun got covered up because of the storm that that came through last night. I guess maybe I'm not sure where that was, but it was very exciting. Some great speakers right before Bernie Sanders, and then here is one clip from that speech.
Today we say to the 1% and the large profitable corporations in America. Listen up, because this applies to you. We say to the 1% in large corporations that under a Bernie Sanders administration, you're not going to be getting more tax breaks. Quite the contrary. We're going to end your tax breaks and your loopholes. You are going to start paying your fair share of taxes. We will no longer accept the absurd situation where large multi-billion-dollar corporations like Amazon, Netflix, and General Motors pay nothing in federal income taxes. And we're not going to allow these corporations and the billionaires to stash their money in the Cayman Islands and in other tax havens. Yes, the wealthy and multinational corporations will start paying their fair share of taxes. We're going to end austerity for working families and bring a little austerity for the wealthy and the powerful.
That's a nice twist on the program of austerity. It was about a 35-minute speech and really ranged across the board. We'll talk more about it later in the program, but it was super exciting to be at the launch of that campaign. And let me just say this, in terms of the primary, I don't think we're going to do our best around here not to get too heavy into the primary too early. But obviously, as people join in the race, there's going to end up being about another 15. I mean, not another 15, but I have a feeling we're going to have about 15 candidates probably before this is over, maybe more. And but the first debates are in June. And, until then, for the most part, I'm hoping that we're going to be able to just sort of talk about different proposals that are brought up by different candidates. At this point, we've heard stuff from like Cory Booker, the baby bonds proposal, which I think is a pretty good proposal. Elizabeth Warren, I think, to be honest, so far has introduced the most interesting and dynamic proposals when you think about universal child care and when you think about prescription drugs being manufactured by the U.S. government, talking about generics. And then, of course, I think Klobuchar had said something about
Tax advantage savings accounts.
tax advantage savings accounts. And, incidentally, we're going to spend time making fun of proposals like that. When John Hickenlooper says that what I'm going to be able to do is sit down with Mitch McConnell and work things out, I'm going to make fun of that because that is that's like Brandon Straka level of delusion. And anybody who can actually go on television and say that is necessarily either completely out of it or just totally lying. And so some of that stuff is we're not going to get treated. But I will say this. We have lost some members because they don't appreciate the fact that we are too Bernie friendly here. It's not that many, but whatever. And that's fine. If people, I think, at least Michael and I have made it clear, like there's plenty of candidates that we could get with on the Democratic side in the general election. I am, between Bernie and Warren, I think I would be equally happy. Maybe there's other candidates to jump in. I don't know. But here's one thing that, and I don't mind. You don't want to be a member? Don't be a member. But if you email and threaten me with your membership to change the programming, I mean, this hasn't been a problem as much in the past couple of years, but there was a problem with this, at other times. I will tell you that I will develop a technology to keep you from listening to even the free show. I will spend my time. I will fire you. You will not fire me. I will fire you. So just don't try and leverage. That is why we have this system here. That is why I never wanted to be sponsored by a some type of organization or whatnot. I mean, sure, I would be open to partnerships and whatnot, but because I do not take well to people trying to leverage money. It may be a personality defect, and it may be a little bit more extreme than it probably should be. But so don't email that way. You can email and say, like, I'm sorry, I got to take a break from the show because I'm too supportive of blankety blank and I get uncomfortable with it. Totally get it. But if you email and you go, like, if you guys don't stop blankety blank, I'm going to quit. You're fired. I will fire you. And if I'm in a good mood, I'll tell you. But otherwise, you're just not going to have access to the show. So